Now available for the first time on Google Play, The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are falling apart in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. Get your copy on Google Play today. There's an old saying that a hit dog will holler, and it seems like a lot of beta males were hit by the comments that I made in last week's live stream where I talked about why beta males are terrible boyfriends and husbands. Now, I've received several comments from individuals who were so in their feelings about that live stream that they were sitting there talking about why this video needs to be taken down. Now, the only people who would be upset about a video live stream where I'm talking about why beta males are terrible boyfriends and husbands are just beta males who can't stand hearing the truth about themselves and their extremely dysfunctional behavior. Now, when it comes down to your beta male, he has a real serious problem with power. And the problem he has with power is that he is extremely insecure, and because of his insecurities, whenever he gets any sort of power, what he tries to do is he tries to control people through whatever he's using to gain leverage over them. Now, your beta male is notorious for trying to gain leverage through attachments. And these attachments can be tangible, such as an iPhone or a book or money, or it can be an intangible, like knowledge or expertise. And what your beta male will do in order to try to maintain power over people who are paying attention to him is he will use these attachments to go out here and establish a covert contract between himself and those people, and then he will use that covert contract to attach an emotional hose to those people so that he can go out here and use his knowledge to go out here and manipulate and abuse them. And your beta male will sit there and try to make it appear like he is the one who is trying to do right, but it's his paternalistic and condescending attitude that really starts to upset people, because whenever your beta male gets power, what he tries to do as he's establishing this covert contract and attaching this emotional hose to people is he goes out here and looks to move the goalpost. Now, this goalpost that the beta male tries to move is all about him maintaining power by continuing to make himself the center of attention, because your beta male is extremely insecure about losing the attention of people, because if the project or the task is completed, he's afraid that those people who have him as the center of attention are going to walk away. Now, in an interdependent relationship between people, most people really don't care if somebody moves on. And the reason why they don't care if somebody moves on is because they've accomplished what they want to accomplish, and because they're secure in themselves, they can just move on to other tasks and get on with their life. But the beta male, because he is emotionally insecure, he can't move on from where he's standing. And he's afraid to move on because he's afraid that he won't remain the center of attention. And the usual reason why he isn't the center of attention is due to all of his insecurities. And people just don't want to be around this guy because of his extreme insecurities. And what he tries to do in order to keep their attention is try to use his knowledge or his attachments to maintain power over those people. And as they are still paying attention to him, what he does is he continues to move the goalpost in order to keep these people's focus on him. So, for example, you will ask a beta male how to use a computer, and what he will do is passively tell you half of the commands and then aggressively try to use that to segue into trying to build a further relationship with you where he can maintain more power and control. So what he'll try to do is he'll try to make it where after he teaches you one or two of the commands for a computer program,
then segue it into, oh, let's try to talk privately. And then, as he's talking to you privately in a private classroom, then he starts to segue into trying to make this into a personal or a romantic relationship, especially in the case of a female. Now, the person who asked him for the help only wanted to just get some information so that they could move on. But the beta male, what he's trying to do is he's trying to maintain power and control in the relationship because he's scared that if the person gets what they want, they're going to move on. But that's the way a normal relationship works between people who need help. But this beta male, what he wants to do is he wants to continue maintaining that power, and that's why he continues to move the goalpost over and over again. Because whenever a beta male gets that power over someone, he's so scared of losing that power, he keeps pulling the goalpost further back, and he keeps moving that goalpost further back so that the person can continue to be strung along by him through the emotional hose he's established. Now, this attempt to try to form relationships and control people is an extremely dishonest one, and it's one that winds up oftentimes blowing up in your beta male's face. And the reason why it blows up in your beta male's face is because he's not trying to form a relationship with you through honest terms. No, he's looking to try to control you through whatever attachment or information he controls. And what he wants to do is continue having you chase after him so that he can be the one in the power position in the relationship. So he does not want a balanced relationship where you evenly exchange information. He wants to be the god over you who controls all the information, and you have to come to him from a submissive position where he can continue to remain in power. So your beta male, whenever he gets any sort of power as he believes in a situation, he goes out here and continues to move the goalpost. However, what this does is undermine him, because as he continues to move the goalpost, what happens is, in his efforts to try to maintain control, his insecurities wind up flaring up. And as his insecurities wind up flaring up, his requests start to become more and more ridiculous and more absurd. And that is where people start to get a light turned on in their head if they're critical thinkers, and they start to realize that this person is all about trying to maintain power over another person. And eventually what happens is that once that beta male moves this goalpost too much, the people, they figure out what he's doing, and that's when the beta male winds up backed up against a wall. And usually this is what undermines the beta male and undoes him, because what he does as he's moving the goalpost further and further back, he can't see how he's backing himself into a corner. And once he backs himself into that corner, that's when those people call him out on his bullshit, and they let him know that he's just not being honest about anything. And as they confront him and call him out on his BS, they let him know that they're not going to put up with his BS. And eventually, usually the beta male either winds up losing all the attention he receives, and then he further tarnishes the intangibles as related to his character and his manhood, and people know not to trust the beta male or to go to the beta male for anything, because this man is extremely dishonest, and he winds up violating people's trust because he does not trust those people to want to continue having a relationship with him. And those people have a right not to trust him, because if he wanted a genuine relationship with people, he would trust them to want to have a relationship with him, and he would not try to use attachments to try to manipulate and control people, because healthy people do not go out here looking to manipulate and control others. No, healthy people, when they get asked to help somebody, they just genuinely go out here and help people, without looking to attach emotional hoses and strings to them. No, healthy people, they will just give you the help that you need, and they trust that if you are interested in help, in wanting more help, you will come to them based out of an honest and genuine relationship where it helps you both move on. But the beta male does not want to move on. No, he wants to continue having you in the same situation where you remain in a codependent relationship with him, because he's afraid that if you leave, he's going to lose his position where he has the leverage and the position where he believes he has all the power. But people who truly care about others don't want to have power over others. No, people who genuinely love other people want what's best for them. But the beta male does not want what's best for another person. No, he wants what's best for himself. And what's best for him in his eyes is having all the power in a relationship, because he believes he can control everything as related to that relationship, but he's not really in control of the most important person, and that person is himself. Because a person who has strong self-control is not insecure when other people pay attention to them. No, whether people pay attention to them or they don't, that person is not fazed, and they will just sit there and say, okay, these people are paying attention to me, that's fine. And if they want help, that's fine. But it is not an effort for me to try to go out here and try to segue this into trying to manipulate people into a relationship they did not ask for, and they did not go out here and be privy to want to be a part of. A honest person wants to have relationships with people based on what they want to have, and if that person wants to be in your life, they let that person be in their life. And if they want to go, they go. But they understand that it's their choice to move on, and it's not their choice to go out here and try to manipulate and force people into having relationships with them. And that's what the beta male tries to do with people. He tries to go out here and tries to trick people into being his friend. He tries to trick people into being social with him. He tries to trick people into having relationships based on what he either thinks he knows or what he has. And he tries to get these type of relationships, but they usually wind up falling apart because he does not respect people, but he's looking for people to respect him. But he doesn't understand that respect is a two-way street, and on that two-way street, you have to give respect to get respect. But the beta male does not respect anyone, and that's why at the end of the day, your beta male usually winds up alone, and he winds up sitting there angry, trying to blame other people for why he's by himself. But the main reason why he's by himself is due to his dishonesty, due to his manipulation of people, and due to his just extremely dysfunctional frame of thinking about treating people. Your beta male will not do unto others as he would do as are done unto him, and he does not love his neighbors as he loves himself. What he loves is power and control, and he loves to try to go out here and emotionally abuse people and mentally manipulate people in order to try to get control over others. But people who truly love people let people go, and they're willing to let people go because they understand that nobody is supposed to be under anyone else. And if you want to be the center of attention, then you go out here and do things based on merit to get that attention, and you have the character to go out here and be able to finish what you're doing and move on. And that's another problem with beta males who move the goalpost. They never want to finish anything because they believe if everything finishes, their efforts to get attention will be finished, and people won't want to have anything to do with them. But the great irony is people don't want anything to do with your beta male because he's an extremely dishonest person, and because of his extreme dishonesty, they look and judge the content of his character, and when they look at his character, they don't see a person that they want to be friends with. No, they see a person who is basically acting like an enemy, and they acting like somebody they can't trust. And that is the core to why people just don't want to have anything to do with a lot of beta males, because they just aren't people who are trustworthy, because underneath their layer of kindness is a whole lot of cruelty, and it's that cruelty that is the reason why people avoid having contact with beta males, because in order for them to be the center of attention, they have to be abusive and cruel as they smile with you with a kind face, and it's that abusiveness and cruelty that makes their words hit like fists, and their actions of moving the goalpost be like yanking the rug right out from under you. Now, I understand that these type of videos upset some of these beta males, but they need to hear the truth about their behavior, because their behavior is extremely dysfunctional, and their behavior is the reason why they make terrible boyfriends and husbands, why they make terrible friends, and why at the end of the day they usually wind up by themselves with no one else to blame but themselves. Now, if you want to learn more about the extremely dysfunctional behavior of beta males, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis on Smashwords, the iBook store, and Google Play. And if you want to see me make more videos about men's issues like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available for pre-order on Kindle. Stop Simping in Cyberspace. Learn how to avoid predatory females in their virtual con games with Stop Simping in Cyberspace. Pre-order your copy of Stop Simping in Cyberspace on Kindle today.